welcome back to another exciting episode of the Tech Talks Daily podcast, where we're always thrilled to bring you the latest insights and discussions live from a show floor, to bring you the latest insights and discussions on technology and business innovation. And one of the great pleasures of producing this podcast is the friendships that I'm often able to build with my guests over a period of time. And sometimes I even get a chance to meet them in person on the show floor of a tech conference. And for me, today's episode is particularly special because I'm joined once again by our esteemed guest, Adam Mayer. He's previously shared his expertise with us in episodes featuring Natwest Bank and even the Nationwide Police. But this time, I'm going to be talking to him live in person on the show floor here at QlikWorld in Vegas. And in this conversation, we're going to cover the impact of ChatGPT and generative AI on organisations in the world of work and data analytics, and also some of the data and analytics trends that is capturing his attention. And of course, we'll also talk about the critical importance of data privacy and governance within organisations and the role of real-time data in industries like financial services, retail, and so much more. And also the cultural shift towards a data everywhere mindset and how companies like Ford are embracing this approach. I don't want to reveal any spoilers, so buckle up and hold on tight, because once again, it's time for me to beam your ears all the way to Las Vegas, where you can join me in a unique opportunity to learn more from Adam Mayer, who's going to be sharing his insights and experiences. So a massive warm welcome back to the show. You are officially friend of the podcast now, Adam, and quite fitting that we celebrate your hat trick of appearances by meeting in person. But can you remind everyone listening with a little of who you are and what you do?
Absolutely, Neil. It's amazing to see you in person as well. There's a really good vibe in QlikWorld, so it's great to see everybody back in person. But yeah, I've been at Qlik now, so I'm in the product marketing team in Qlik. And I've been at Qlik for 6 years. And in fact, fun fact, yesterday was my 6-year anniversary.
Wow.
So that was good. So yeah, it was a day of anniversaries. Qlik being 30 years old. Mike said he celebrated his fifth year anniversary, and I'm celebrating my 6th. So that's really good. And
all these celebrations and you're in Vegas.
I know.
Dare I ask what happened?
Almost as if it was planned. Well, we're here celebrating QlikWorld, which is great. And across those 6 years, I started off as a kind of technical product marketing role, and that spanned all of the sort of analytics portfolios. And then as we sort of started to expand and take that kind of end-to-end piece and bring in data integration as well, from the Attunity acquisition, I've now since then pretty much been focusing on data movement piece, so change data capture, delivering real-time data into the more cloud-based kind of applications to help people with their cloud data management kind of strategies, and start innovating with data from there.
We're going to have people listening all over the world, and many people hearing about QlikWorld for the very first time. So how would you describe it to them?
Oh, yeah. It's the world of Qlik is the easy way of saying it. But I like to think we used to call it connections when I first started. Connections with a Q, and that was all about people connecting with each other, and it's expanded since then as well, because it's not just about analytics anymore. It's about data and analytics, and data is at the heart of all the conversations. But really, it's about clickies coming together, and we use that term broadly. So clickies can be used as internal employees of Qlik, but also our partners, the ecosystem, the technology vendors that we have, and the customers themselves are absolutely key. We're all clickies, so it's about clickies coming together and talking about the value that they're getting out of data. And makes my heart humble to think that Qlik is just a small part of that, like a important cog in the well-oiled machine that delivers outcomes for our customers. And so QlikWorld is really about celebrating that. But we have some customer awards. But people are doing really great things with transformations. We've had people like Ford all the way through to Direct Relief on the NGO side of things. And it's also a chance to sort of kind of look back on what we've delivered, but also talk about, this is where we are today and this is where we're going in the short-term future as well. And we make big announcements about what's happening in the product and the company, and sort of taking that kind of cloud first approach, but not only cloud. Everyone's going in there. There's more flexibility, more innovation out there. And with the biggest news that affects my side of the business is the planned acquisition with Talent. Once we've signed the deal there, then some really interesting things and lots of magic can start happening there. So really looking forward to that.
And of course, it is the first year back after a few virtual events because of the events of the last few years. What have you enjoyed most about being back on a show floor and meeting people face to face again?
I think first and foremost, that's it, is meeting people face to face. It's only so much video, calls are great, and obviously across time zones they're really important, but there's something you can't replace that face to face. We're sitting here talking face to face, and it just makes it so much better. It's almost like a one giant water cooler moment, as our American friends would say. So I think honestly that's kind of what I'm enjoying most. But then also seeing all the kind of innovation and hearing conversations spark and people not only sort of celebrating their success, but people learning from other ways that their peers are doing, and then just sparking off these kind of ideas and aha moments, as we like to say. Oh, if you've done it like that, then I can maybe do this. And that's the bit I think is the real magic. Yeah, that is definitely where the magic happens. And of course, we have spoken several times on here. We've featured, I think, you partners such as the Natwest Bank. And since our last conversation, the world has changed somewhat. In fact, in the last 6 months alone, ChatGPT, generative AI, have dominated conversations almost overnight. It seemed to dominate conversations in the keynote today. There was a lot of loud gasps there. So what impact is it having on organisations in the world of work from what you're seeing and the conversations you're having? Absolutely, yeah. There's no doubt it is sort of causing a lot of buzz and disruption. I think it's very early stage, and what we showed on stage was kind of like a concept in terms of what we could do. I think the biggest thing at the moment is from an industry like you and I perspective, it's quite fun. You got kids out there saying, "Oh look, I've just written my old homework out there," and I see it at the moment. It can help individuals as quite an accelerator in terms of if you want to write about something or learn about something, you can just type in a question and a whole load of natural language information comes back that's really easy to sort of read and understand. So it has huge potential, but obviously, as James mentioned on the keynote, there's caution to be had there as well. So I think from a world of business, the biggest thing that from a caution perspective is you don't want to put your own company data in there. So you want to have that kind of technology or capability that can work on your data, but in kind of secure and governed ways. So I think that's something that we need to kind of look into. But we are already doing that. So we are bringing in our own AI technology into the product to draw out insights. So you can have a kind of natural language, a discussion with your data, and it will draw back kind of natural language insights from it as well. So that's quite important, and we're kind of doing that today, and that's improving over time as well. So what you can't do with ChatGPT at the moment is say show me my top selling products, because it won't know your data, but it will know the outside world, as it were. And there's an element in terms of how much useful that data is to you. So I think from a business perspective, I think it's very early days yet, but there's lots of conversation going on in terms of how can we do it and what's relevant to me, and where's it going? So there's no doubt in a couple of years' time, the world's going to be in a different shape. So as long as we can approach that with, the right kind of mindset in terms of putting the guardrails in and the governance and how do we trust the data and that kind of stuff, and avoid bias and ethics, it's a much wider conversation. But I like the way the concept that we showed in Qlik's always been kind of open and accessible. So we can just treat it as kind of like another source. So as long as we're not putting sensitive data in there, the way we kind of shape the use case in terms of find me a data source and then using that capabilities to say, understanding that sentence that you just put in there, you mean this, so I'll go and pull that data source, there you go. Then describe it for me. So, okay, this data source is about, top products or something like that from marketing, and then kind of interact with it. That's quite interesting. To me, it's about reducing the kind of friction in terms of people getting access to data. And to a degree, it's about making data a little bit less scary as well and more understandable. So huge amount of scope, but I think it's really early days there. And you could almost hear thousands of light bulb moments going off in people's heads, because the security, the governance, all the different concerns there are very real for every business. So I quite find it daunting and overwhelming, but see a concept where they can do all that cool stuff
without compromising their data, having it in a safe place. That's the game changer, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's where we want to get to. So yeah, in interesting times, and it's something we'll certainly continue in pondering on and seeing what we come up with.
So although generative AI is getting all the headlines, are there any other data and analytic trends that have caught your attention in recent months?
Yeah, really, from the conversations we've been having, it's around what we can do today and what we can we almost do near tomorrow, the talent acquisition. And that's around kind of automating. So again, I've talked about reducing that friction, but what's making our kind of solutions quite popular and making customers successful is the using automation, a kind of low code, no code approach to try and take the heavy lifting out of getting access to data in quite complex systems like SAP and mainframe, for example, as well as relational databases, and then creating these kind of robust, solid data pipelines that you can easily set up, change data capture, just capture the changes as and when it happens. So you're delivering kind of near real time data into a more modernized platform, and then they're drawing out analytics from there. So you're kind of giving them a very solid foundation to work on, and that's through automation. And I hope, maybe a little bit forward-looking statement, but one area where I could be really useful is in that whole data management space. And how can we work on data quality so you can kind of feed? It would be talking about ChatGPT. It'd be good to get to a state we could in product say like, show me where my data qualities issue lie and how do I fix them. And to a degree, Josh showed that today with the potential integration we could do with talent. So that's really exciting times, and that's near future stuff, not too far away. And
we've mentioned talent a few times, and that planned acquisition. What is it excites you about that more than anything?
Yeah, I think it's the extending the capabilities that we can do, and pretty much what we showed today is around that whole kind of data quality and governance piece is really important to not only kind of speed up time to value in terms of delivering in the right shape it needs to be in the right quality, but that's really going to help building up trust in organizations as well, because how often do you hear your organization say, can I trust that data? So I think that elements around governance and trust and data quality will be the big piece that we can get out straight away, and then it will grow from there.
And I've seen you several times during this conference. You're running around all over the place, different speaking opportunities and meetings, etc. So from the conversations you're having on the show floor, are there any reoccurring themes around the kind of things that people are talking to you about?
Yeah, I think it's making data more accessible. That's the key thing. And I think that's what people really love about Qlik, and I love hearing that people are getting value out of, is because we can deliver that full end-to-end piece. It helps them make that data more accessible and getting it into the hands of people who need it most. And I like the fact that you can have kind of essentially cross-functional teams that aren't necessarily data geeks, but we appeal to everyone from the IT side of things, from data engineers to BI, business intelligence analysts, creating the dashboard, to the users themselves and helping them kind of skill up through improving their data literacy and getting the information they need. They don't need to know how it got worked and where it came from. They just need to know, okay, I know that's trusted because Bert told me it's trusted because he's happy with the integration thing. Susanna's happy because she's modeled it and, we've worked together. So it's that kind of collaboration thing, but putting the data into the hands of users that, they know what data they need and they know what to do with it. Pizza Express was talking about how they've sort of made data accessible to all their waiters so they can be more performant in their jobs and know what's top selling, what they're short of and things like that. So providing a better customer experience. And one of my favourite stories is in the NHS, where Wrighton, Wigan and Lee have essentially extended their BI teams all the way through to not just BI teams, but, ward nurses, receptionists, all the way down to the cleaners, all are part of this team in terms of working together, but data is at the heart of that. And again, making them more efficient and ultimately putting the patient first. So these are the kind of outcomes I think make big differences. And it's nice to know that we kind of play a small but important part in that, for sure.
Absolutely. And another big topic, we kind of hinted on this a few moments ago, is the importance of data privacy and governance within organisations. Is this anything you can expand on that from what you're seeing? And also, the age-old problem of, we're talking about data everywhere and getting out that single version of the truth that everyone can see. Traditionally, people have been very guarded of, nobody touches my data, no one can look at my data. What are you seeing around all of these areas?
Yeah, I think it's like putting the right guardrails in. So again, from a data integration perspective, that's all about, those people who are quite rightly protected the data, want to have the security, in it, them knowing that we can actually access that data and deliver it to where it needs to be in the right way without compromising that security. So, and there's various different ways you can say, like, I'm only going to take that data set, but not that table, because that's personal information that doesn't need to be going into, the wider organization. So we can help people with those controls and allaying. And it's essentially, from an Natwest perspective, we've always had data privacy by putting at the core of it, security of data privacy by design, and having the guardrails through to make sure that only the right people get access to the right data. I heard one of our customers talk about, again, from a data integration perspective, making sure that the right people do the right thing and not the wrong thing with data. Yeah. And he sees Qlik as a very key enabler to allow them to do that in the way that we help them deliver data out to the rest of the business. And that's from like mission critical systems like mainframes. So that's always been there. And also as an organization, we take data privacy very, very seriously as well. And we have some really smart legal counsel that would created data privacy teams in terms of how we treat our own data responsibly and securely as well. So it's operating from a business perspective as well as the products and solutions that we put out to make sure that you've got the right guide rails in there to do the right governance and do the right thing.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm curious, can you tell me a bit more about the impact of real-time data in industries such as financial services and retail? Are you seeing a big demand there too?
Absolutely. I mean, you think about from the finance perspective, you got to make sure you're working on the most freshest data available. If there's a change in like insurance policies, for example, that needs to be reflected. So that's where change data capture is a key enabler for that. And we have organizations like Vanguard who are processing millions of transactions. We're allowing that data to go through in near real time. And ultimately, that's allowed them to innovate and offer better customer solutions for their customers so they can get access to the right data very quickly. And on the retail side, think about what's happened with the pandemic and the supply chains, perfectly, working supply chains breaking. Real-time data has been really important there. And I heard a great example recently of a well-known DIY chain in the UK that found that when the kind of boom of DIY happened during the pandemic with people being furloughed, they were able to use real-time data to manage their supply chains and make sure that when there was a high demand for paint, for people painting their fences, for example, they were able to actually look at their whole supply chain and divert one delivery going into the main central warehouse from another country directly into the store that they needed to. And they had visibility across that they couldn't do that without real-time data. So things like that are happening today, and phenomenal stories.
So one of the big themes here is data everywhere. And one of the keynotes, it was said that businesses that think data first will be the big winners. And a great example of this in action was Ford sharing how they're building an ecosystem to support every aspect of the company. And it's not just about the analytics users, it's for the product development team, the marketing team, finance, HR, and right across the board. So are you seeing a cultural shift with your client to make that happen? Is that something you're seeing?
Yeah, definitely. I think I hear it a lot that Qlik is a key enabler in organizations to do these kind of things. And I think Ford is a great story there. Not only are they dealing with a myriad of data sources, over 650 data sources, I think you mentioned, but they are using it in lots of different ways across lots of different departments and making that data accessible for kind of intelligent actions and decision making, but also she talked about operational level as well, using that data. And I'm a big fan of that as well. I call it operational analytics, but is your whole kind of architecture and estate that you've just deployed and created, is that running as efficiently as it could be? So actually using the data to analyze the operational side of things. Is it running efficiently? Do I need to scale for it? It's almost like this is what cloud management kind of takes away, but she's also or Ford are also using it on the kind of health of the Qlik analytics side. So all of these applications that I'm making available, how well used are they? And do we need to make any tweaks? How well performing are they? And these side of things as well. So there's almost like two sides of the data that you deliver out to the business to grow and transform, but then also using that data to make sure that things are working as optimally and as efficiently as possible. So that is definitely happening a lot. I think is also on almost top of mind for organisations as well.
A question I've got to ask you is, from everything that you've seen and heard here at QlikWorld, from the many, many conversations you've had, what are you going to be thinking about on that 10-hour flight home? Is there anything you're going to be taking away and thinking about?
Apart from a big smile on my face and falling asleep, catching up on all the sleep I've missed. Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me personally is, one, the success stories and celebrating success with the awards and what have you. But also, I think top of mind for me personally will be, what's next with once we get the talent acquisition down. That's going to be really interesting things, a lot of fun happening, meeting new people from the talent side, and creating more magic and making more people's lives easier.
Well, so, and I think I read that the keynotes will eventually be going on the Qlik website. But for anyone wanting to find out more information about everything we've talked about, what's the best starting point for everything?
Absolutely, yeah. So Qlik.com is definitely the kind of first place to go. I think we have a QlikWorld kind of separate site, but it's connected to Qlik.com, so you can get it. So you can get all the information there. And there's a lot of buzz on LinkedIn. So there's the hashtag QlikWorld. You can check that, and obviously Twitter and other social media channels. And Qlik Community I'll give a shout out to as well, because that's, if you think about what QlikWorld is today, it's about discussions happening and people interacting with their peers and learning new things. We're here to help, obviously, but, to have a wider community that's there to support itself and it's growing all the time, that's a great place to go. Sign up for. You can get information on lots of different products. You can get information on what people are doing, and you can also submit ideas as well. You talked about in the keynote that Qlik was built by our customers. We listen to our customers, and they provide feedback in how we can do things in different ways to help them do things better. And we have an ideation section on Qlik Community where people can raise ideas as well. So that's another place that I plug.
Well, I would say, as an outsider, somebody from the outside looking in, and all the conversations I've had with the partners and the luminaries, etc., it's that sense of community, and it is really there. It's not just empty words. I see it and feel it and hear it everywhere where I've been. So it has been your hat trick of appearances. Quite fitting we've done it in person, but just thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Neil. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Thank you.
Now, as we wrap up this special episode from QlikWorld in Las Vegas, I just want to thank Adam for joining me once again on the podcast and for meeting me in person. Always a pleasure to talk about everything from AI, data, analytics. And I hope you enjoyed this opportunity to hear his perspective on some of the latest trends and discussions taking place live on the show floor of the conference. And yes, I'm grateful for the chance to explore these topics with today's guest and appreciate the time he took with me to share his thoughts with us. And if you'd like to learn more about the subjects we discussed today, I do encourage you to check out QlikWorld's website and stay informed on the latest developments in the world of data analytics, and check out some of those keynotes, because there were some pretty big light bulb moments going on. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to Tech Talks Daily so you never miss an episode. And please consider leaving a rating review to share your thoughts on today's conversation, the show. And if you've got any feedback about the kind of guest that you would like on here, things you'd like to hear more of, please email me directly, techblogwriter@outlook.com, or get me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, just @NeilC.Hughes. But I'll be back again tomorrow with another guest, so stay curious, keep exploring, and until next time, don't be a stranger.